Jane remembers the linoleum floor in the bathroom of Larry Nassar's apartment. She remembers feeling strange as he walked in and handed her gymnastics magazines to read as she lay fully naked in his bathtub. She was 12 or 13, she can't recall exactly. Nassar, no older than 30 and putting the finishing touches on his medical degree, had called Jane's mother days before, explaining he was doing research about gymnasts' flexibility and wanted her daughter's help. On the day Jane was to participate, her mother was out of town, so a neighbor dropped her off, alone, at Nassar's one-bedroom apartment a few blocks from the Michigan State University campus. Once inside, Nassar had Jane do splits on his living room floor while she wore a gymnastics leotard. He measured the flexibility, how far your crotch came off the floor when you did the splits, Jane, now 38, recalls. A special, one-hour edition of Outside the Lines airs at 12:30 p.m. ET Tuesday on ESPN and the ESPN app and will feature an in-depth examination about what Michigan State University knew about Larry Nassar's abuse and how it failed to act on reports about his behavior. After Nassar said she should take a hot bath as part of the study's metrics, Jane got dressed in her leotard and did splits a second time. Then, she says, Nassar gave her what he called her reward. On a training table crammed between the living room and kitchenette, he gave her a full-body massage. Once again, she was naked. The encounter didn't strike her as threatening, to the contrary, she recalls, she felt special. Other girls from Great Lakes Gymnastics Club had been invited to Nassar's apartment, perhaps 5 to 7, she says, and to be asked was to become part of the chosen few. Looking back now, I think that what Larry was trying to figure out was, can I really get away with sexually abusing little girls, says Jane, who had met Nassar at the gymnastics club in nearby Lansing, where she'd been training since age 5. The former gymnast, who spoke to Outside the Lines on the condition of anonymity to protect her family's privacy, agreed to be identified using only a pseudonym. She is one of the more than 150 women suing Nassar, his former employer Michigan State University, and other entities claiming she was sexually assaulted under the guise of medical treatment. Starting Tuesday, many of those women will share their stories in a Michigan courtroom. Nassar, now 54, pleaded guilty in November to 10 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct with victims as young as 6 years old. The presiding judge will allow dozens of women or their advocates to issue victim impact statements before she will decide his prison sentence. That sentence could be added to the 60 years in prison he received last month after pleading guilty to federal child pornography charges. Understanding how Nassar gained unfettered access to young girls and young women over the course of a quarter-century despite repeated warning signs means confronting an uncomfortable truth: he didn't gain that access alone. Nassar was surrounded by a collection of adults who enabled his predatory behavior, a group that included coaches of club, collegiate and elite-level gymnasts, the USA Gymnastics Organization, medical professionals, administrators, and coaches at Michigan State University, and gymnasts' parents, whom he groomed just as effectively as those he violated. Now that so much of the Nassar tragedy has been exposed, a lingering question remains: were each of those enablers complicit or simply conned by a man described as a master manipulator?